Welcome back to our channel. Today is a beautiful day to dive headfirst into the chaotic, scandalous, and utterly thrilling world of Fairmont Crest. Grab a comfortable seat and maybe a strong cup of coffee, because the drama we are unpacking today is absolutely off the charts, and you will not want to miss a single second of this deep dive. Beyond the gates, spoilers tease that the walls are rapidly closing in on Hayley, and her incredibly dangerous game of cat and mouse with Randy at the atrium is about to reach an explosive, terrifying climax that could change everything forever. If you ask me, the sheer audacity of this woman is genuinely mind blowing. While Bill continues to blindly place his complete trust in her, Hayley is quietly and maliciously hiding her true murderous intentions. She is not just standing by, she is actively continuing to find every possible way to exploit him for her own twisted personal gain. I honestly do not understand how Bill, a man who prides himself on being so sharp and in control of his entire universe, cannot see the absolute monster sitting right next to his hospital bed. But then again, love or whatever toxic illusion of control Bill thinks he has is completely blind. Hayley is not just trying to control Bill, she is strategically trying to dismantle his entire support system. We see her actively applying intense pressure on Naomi. How does she do this? By whispering toxic little lies into the ear of Tomas. She manipulative tells Tomas that Naomi is actively trying to usurp her father's position at the firm. Guys, this is a classic divide and conquer strategy. By pitting Tomas against Naomi, Hayley creates a massive distraction. If everyone is too busy fighting each other over the law firm, no one is going to look too closely at the doting wife who is secretly spiking her husband's drinks. It is brilliant, but it is also so incredibly evil. Meanwhile, over at the hospital, things are not going exactly as Hayley planned. Her patience is severely running out. You have to realize that being stuck in a hospital room with constant medical supervision is a nightmare for someone trying to pull off a slow burn poisoning. Every time a doctor walks in, every time a monitor beeps, her plan is put on hold. The medical staff's constant vigilance is a massive roadblock for her, and because of this intense frustration, the relationship between her and Ashley is becoming increasingly hostile. Ashley is just trying to do her job and keep a patient alive, but to Hayley, Ashley is the enemy standing between her and a $10 million life insurance payout. The tension between them is palpable, and I am just waiting for the moment when Hayley completely snaps at her. Let us talk about Bill for a second. The man just survived a major medical crisis, had a pacemaker implanted, and what is he doing? He is complaining endlessly about not being discharged yet. He is whining about being stuck in that hospital bed, and through all of his complaining, Hayley is forced to sit there playing the role of the incredibly devoted, worried wife. She is trapped in this performance. But here is where things get really interesting and honestly a little bit pathetic on Bill's part. The moment Hayley finally leaves the hospital room to run an errand, specifically to go to his office to fetch his laptop, Bill immediately grabs his phone. And who does he text? Chelsea. He secretly messages Chelsea to tell her that he misses her. If you ask me, this single action speaks volumes about Bill's psychological state. Despite being at death's door, he still possesses these deeply unresolved feelings and this desperate need for validation from other women. It completely proves that despite Hayley's best manipulative efforts, she does not have total control over his personal life. Bill is a wild card. He is a narcissist who needs to feel desired, and texting Chelsea is his way of feeling alive while trapped in a sterile hospital room. It is a messy, reckless move, but it is so incredibly on brand for him. Now, let us shift gears to the absolute highlight of this entire situation, the massive showdown at the office. Picture this. Danny heads over to Bill's office with the exact same goal to grab his laptop. And who does she run into? Hayley. The moment these two women lock eyes in that office, you can practically feel the oxygen leave the room. The verbal sparring that erupts between them is nothing short of legendary. Danny, who we all know has razor-sharp instincts, does not hold back. She immediately starts dropping heavy hints, vaguely but pointedly, suggesting that Hayley is sneaking around and having an affair with Randy. You can imagine the sheer panic that must have flashed behind Hayley's eyes for a fraction of a second. But Hayley, being the seasoned manipulator that she is, immediately goes on the offensive. Instead of denying it too hard, she claps back with venom, warning Danny that she should probably spend a little more time worrying about her own fragile marriage rather than poking her nose into someone else's business. It was a vicious, low blow, but it was incredibly effective. However, this confrontation did something crucial. It deepened the intense hostility between them, and more importantly, it triggered a massive alarm bell in Danny's head. Danny walked away from that fight not just annoyed, but deeply suspicious. She can feel it in her bones that Hayley is hiding a massive, dark secret. Danny knows that Hayley's extreme defensiveness is a massive red flag. Following that intense office clash, Hayley desperately needs to regroup, which leads us to her clandestine meeting with Randy at the atrium. I mean, sitting in a public place discussing a murder plot is bold, but they are getting desperate. Hayley explicitly tells Randy that pulling off the murder inside the hospital with all those doctors and nurses hovering around is virtually impossible. So what is her brilliant solution? She coldly decides that they are going to use a much stronger, far more lethal dose the next time they strike. This is where we see Randy start to crack under the pressure. Randy is sweating bullets. He voices a very real, very terrifying concern. What if this massive dose does not kill Bill? What if it just leaves him in a permanent vegetative state or a deep coma? If Bill is in a coma, the $10 million life insurance policy does not pay out. They would be stuck with a living vegetable and $0, not to mention the endless medical bills and the constant risk of a toxicology report exposing them. It is a massive risk. But does Hayley care? Absolutely not. She is completely ice cold. She shows zero hesitation and zero intention of backing down. Her ruthless determination is honestly chilling. She is willing to risk everything, including Randy's freedom, to get that money. While Hayley is busy plotting her lethal next steps, the people around her are finally starting to wake up. Both Naomi and Danny are becoming increasingly vigilant and wary of every single move Hayley makes. And just when you think Hayley has the board set, Bill makes a shocking move that completely shifts the power dynamic. Out of nowhere, Bill presents a brand new proposition directly to Naomi. He actively tries to persuade her to consider working alongside him. Now, we all know Naomi has been incredibly resistant to the idea of working for her father. She wants to carve her own path, but Bill is laying on the charm and the pressure. Furthermore, Bill actually steps up and fiercely defends Naomi against Tomas. Tomas has been riding Naomi hard, trying to assert dominance over the firm, especially regarding the settlement offer from the opposing counsel, Mike. Bill makes it crystal clear to Tomas that he needs to back off and stop pressuring his daughter. If you ask my opinion, this sudden display of protective fatherly behavior from Bill is fascinating. Is it genuine love for Naomi, or is it just Bill's desperate need to maintain absolute control over his law firm and his legacy? Either way, it puts Tomas in his place and shows that Bill is still a heavy hitter, even with a pacemaker. These unexpected actions from Bill force Naomi to deeply reevaluate her entire current situation. She is looking at her father, looking at Hayley, and realizing that something is fundamentally broken in their dynamic. In a deeply symbolic and emotional moment, Naomi takes a framed photograph of Bill and Hayley and shoves it into a drawer, hiding it from view. That single action screams volumes. It shows that she no longer trusts this relationship. The illusion of the happy family is completely shattered for her. She cannot even bear to look at their smiling faces because she knows it is all a toxic lie. Driven by this new realization, Naomi takes matters into her own hands. She corners Caroline, aggressively pressing her for any shred of information. Naomi is desperate to find out if Caroline knows anything about Hayley's suspected infidelity. Naomi is connecting the dots, and she knows Caroline is a weak link who might crack under pressure. At the same time, Naomi stands her ground professionally, remaining absolutely steadfast in her refusal to accept the settlement agreement related to Mike and his lawsuit. She is fighting battles on all fronts, and she is proving to be incredibly resilient. Meanwhile, Danny is also on the hunt for the truth. After her explosive fight with Hayley, Danny is more determined than ever to dig up the dirt on Randy and Hayley. She is asking questions, she is looking for clues, and she is getting dangerously close to uncovering the murder plot. But in a frustrating twist of fate, her investigation is abruptly cut short before she can get to the absolute bottom of the issue. We all know her parents have been breathing down her neck, grilling her relentlessly, and it seems the family drama is pulling her focus away right when she was on the verge of a massive breakthrough. It is so frustrating because you just know she was inches away from busting Hayley wide open. As the dust settles on this chaotic chapter, one thing is abundantly clear. Hayley is facing more danger and exposure than she ever has before. The walls are closing in from every single direction. She has to somehow maintain the exhausting facade of the loving wife to keep Bill's trust, while simultaneously figuring out how to manipulate and neutralize Naomi, all while desperately dodging the relentless scrutiny of Danny. It is a massive juggling act, and she is bound to drop a ball soon. The people in Bill's orbit are no longer blind. They are slowly but surely waking up to the horrifying reality that beneath Hayley's calm, composed, and beautiful exterior lies a deeply dangerous and lethal conspiracy. The tension is at an absolute boiling point, and I cannot wait to see who makes the next fatal move. Will Hayley manage to administer that final lethal dose, or will Danny and Naomi expose her before she can strike? The stakes have literally never been higher, and the fallout is going to be absolutely catastrophic for everyone involved.